you. And I. All right, welcome everybody. This is our first board meeting of the new year, so it's a little different in that I start the meeting because it is also our organizational meeting. So do I hear a motion to come out of closed session?
I make a motion that we come out of closed session.
Okay, Ms. Daskell with the motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Mr. Mead, could you please read the certification of closed session?
Whereas the New Kent County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by New Kent County School Board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the New Kent County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the New Kent County School Board.
Thank you, Mr. Mead. Do I hear a motion to approve the certification of closed session?
I make a motion that we approve the certification for closed
All right.
session.
Thank you, Ms. Daskell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion from the board? And a vote, please. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right. So our second item of business is to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We are now on item 3, and that is the reorganization of the school board / appointments. Board members, we're going to start with the election of the chair and the vice chair. Upon election, the newly elected chair will take charge of the January meeting. I'd like to start by opening up any nominations for chair. Do I hear a motion to nominate a chair?
I motion to nominate Mr. Wade Mead as chair of the New Kent County School Board.
All right. So we have a nomination on the floor for Mr. Mead as chair of New Kent County School Board. Are there any other I'm sorry, do I have a second?
I was going to second.
Thank you. I'm a rookie at this. So are there any other nominations for chair of the school board? Okay. Hearing none, we have a motion for Mr. Mead to be the chair of the New Kent School Board, and we do have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of Mr. Mead being the chair, please say aye.
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 All right, with that, I hand over the gavel to Mr. Mead. Congratulations, Mr. Mead.
Congratulations, Mr.
Thank you. All right, let's go home. No, thank you, Dr. Nichols, and thank you, board, for the opportunity to be chair for this upcoming year. So I take that very seriously, and I will, exercise my duties to the best of my ability to fulfill the responsibilities of the school board and to exercise the rights and provisions of the state of the Commonwealth of Virginia. So thank you very much. So now we would like to take nominees for a vice chair. Do I hear a motion to nominate a vice chair?
I move to nominate Molly McBeath for vice chair.
I'll second. Take a vote. Y'all want to vote? Oh, yeah. Is any discussion? There's no discussion. I'd like to take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. So now we appoint Miss Molly McBeath as the Vice Chair of the New Kent County School Board for the 23 season. Thank you, Ms. McBeath. So next, the appointment of the clerk and the deputy clerk. Do I hear a motion to reappoint Ms. Joanna Davis as clerk and Dr. Brian Nichols as the deputy clerk of the New Kent County School Board?
I move we appoint Ms. Davis as the clerk and Dr. Nichols as the deputy clerk.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? There's no discussion. We'll take a vote. All in favor of appointing Ms. Davis and Dr. Nichols as the deputy clerk, as the clerk and the deputy clerk of the school board, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. So Ms. Davis as the new clerk, as the continuing clerk, and Dr. Nichols as the deputy clerk. Thank you. So now as we continue our meeting, we will go to the adoption of the VSBA Code of Conduct. This is the, I believe this is our the second read for this, correct?
It's the annual
Just
VSBA Code
review,
of Conduct.
correct.
Yes, correct.
Yep. Do I hear a motion to adopt the VSBA Code of Conduct for the school board members and the school board clerk as presented?
I move we adopt the code of conduct as presented.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? There's no discussion. We'll take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the ayes have it, and so we have adopted the VSBA Code of Conduct for school board members and school board clerks that we will sign at the end of the session. Now on to presentations and recognitions. Our school spotlight this week is Quinton Elementary. So Ms. Chris Pilger will do that presentation for us this evening. So welcome for the students and welcome for Ms. Pilger to do this presentation for us.
Should have a red light. Welcome, fifth graders.
Through novel studies.
First, thank you so much for having us. This was brought to us by one of our wonderful instructional coaches, Sarah Berry, to completely change the way that we've been teaching ELA. And to say we were apprehensive is an understatement. We were really nervous, but have a great, strong team, and we were ready to take this on. So here are some of our members of our team and our wonderful students to share what this has done for us and the major impact it's had on us as a classroom community and a school.
Good evening. So to start off, we surprised all of the students with complete room transformations, turned our hallway into Hogwarts essentially. And it was really powerful when we got to a point in the book and the students were like, whoa, we know what that is because it's hanging above our heads right now. We had our fall learning festival and we transformed the entire hallway as well into Hogwarts and really got to give families some insight into what we were doing as well and just kind of keep students engaged throughout the day, not just during our reading block. So that was really exciting.
Sean, can we get to slide 3?
Here is an example of the personalized invitations we sent. Once we gave them these invitations, the buy-in and the engagement was evident. Every student got their own invitation. It was on special paper. We even hung some from our ceilings. In my class, my students kept saying, like, how hard could it have been for Harry to catch these letters flying through the air? And I was like, okay, well, let's see if you can do it. So as I'm handing my letters out, I was not handing them to each student. I threw them in the air while they were trying to catch their letters, and just like Harry did. So just another text to self connection.
So as I'm sure you guys know, our pacing is really fast, and we wanted to make sure that everything that we did was extremely intentional, and we weren't just doing activities because they were going to be fun. We wanted to have some real cross-curricular activities for the students to do. So in the book, Harry got a school supply list. So we gave our students the opportunity to spend money to get everything he would need on the list. We discussed wants versus needs, if they wanted to get the top of the line cauldron versus the basic one. It was a really great opportunity for the kids to not only work through a real life application, but also practice something that aligned really well with our math standards at the time. And one of my students, Lily, is going to come talk about her experience with that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lily, and I'm in Miss Shields' class. My house is Hufflepuff, and one of my favorite parts of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was when Harry got his Hogwarts letter with the school supplies list. One thing I liked about that is when my teacher threw our letters in the air and we had to go and find our letters. Another thing I liked is that we got to pretend to go to Diagon Alley and get our school supplies like our wand, our cloak, and our pets. And that is one thing we loved about Harry Potter. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
All right. Hello. In addition, we really wanted to hit on, our curriculum, especially our reading and writing standards, which this novel study really lent itself to. And it allowed students to really build their writing skills and their stamina for writing, which is what we noticed as teachers. One of the best parts was their owl writing, in which they had to do research and come up with facts to support why they picked the owl that they did. Because in the book, when Harry's shopping for his supplies, he gets a snowy owl named Hedwig to take with him. So students are really excited to do their own research and what kind of owl they would take with them if they were going to Hogwarts. And in addition, it also just improved upon students' abilities to make predictions, as well as using text evidence to support their answers. In addition, it really did lend itself to some cross-curricular opportunities, such as with our sound unit and how they had to play music to get past Fluffy. So that worked out well, too. And I have with me, I'll wait, it's coming up a little later.
So if you have read the Harry Potter novels, you're familiar with the house system. But if not, the students at Hogwarts are sorted into houses, and these are kind of tight-knit communities within the school. They eat with them, they go to class with them, they go to sports, and they all kind of like live together in their houses. So this was one of the most exciting times, the kids finding out what house they would be in. After we read the part in the story where Harry is sorted into his house, we sat down with the kids and kind of talked about the main characteristics for people that would be in each house. And then they took a little quiz to find out where they would be. And then we had a sorting ceremony where all the 5th grade came down to the cafeteria, and we had 4 tables decorated with the house colors, and each student got to walk across the stage and put the sorting hat on and hear their name called and they were sorted into their house. And each one of us is the head of a house, and we kept it very secretive which house we were head of until that day when we kind of wore our house colors and they got to guess, they found that really fun. The sorting has really given us a unique opportunity to build relationships outside of our classroom. One of the best things is when a kid from another room will pop in to tell me that they've just earned more points for Gryffindor, or they just want to share that they got a good grade on something because we've made that connection, outside of their own teacher. So I have Ella with me today, and she is going to tell you guys a little bit more about how we earn house points and our house cup.
Hi, my name is Ella. Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm in the Slytherin house. Each day we work to earn points for our house, hoping to win the house cup and at the end of the book. We can earn points by showing how Quentin Cubs care. Challenging ourselves, acting responsibly, respecting our school, encouraging others. The competition is fun and makes us try a little harder on schoolwork and trying to be the best person that we can be. As of now, Gryffindor is in the lead, followed by Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff. Our teachers are really competitive and want to want their house to win badly. At the end of the book, once all of the points are counted, the house with the most points wins the house cup. We don't know what the prize will be yet. The teachers are keeping it a secret, but we are really excited to find out.
Here are some pictures from the sorting ceremony. We just had each tablecloth represents the house, and we called them up one by one where they put the hat on. So it was super exciting time. Okay, I think the next, it's wand writing, so that's you.
All right, so after Harry gets his wand from Ollivander's shop, students were able to create their own wands, which was very cool to see their creativity, and we did that in class. After they created their own wands, they had to write their wand's origin story, so basically making it come to life. And it was really cool because they were super excited, and as we know, the wand picks the wizard. So we really wanted them to make sure whatever they picked for their wood or their kind of magical element, that it represent their personality. And here to share a little bit about their wand writing, I have Miss Emery Foster.
Hi, my name is Emery Foster, and I'm a 5th grader in Miss Branch Adams' class. I'm loving our Harry Potter novel study. One of my favorite parts was when we were able to create our wand and its origin story. It was so cool to get a wand just like Harry does in the novel. My wand had a phoenix feather to represent my bravery. It was also made of wood from a holly tree to represent my caring personality. Creating our wands was definitely one of the best parts of this novel study.
Students got to go further in their writing skills with our mini owl research project. Before students went to Hogwarts, first years could either bring a cat, toad, or an owl to school with them. Since Harry gets Hedwig, the snowy owl, we thought it would be neat for students to also plan what type of owl they would bring with them to Hogwarts. Students conducted research on different types of owls and wrote narratives using their nonfiction facts about the owls to bring with them. Here to tell us a little bit about her owl is Juliana Cornrich.
Hi, my name is Juliana, and I'm in Miss Southwood's class, and today I'll be talking about our owlery. After reading about Harry Potter getting an owl, we were able to research different owls to help us narrow down which would be the perfect fit for us. After conducting our research, we used it to write a narrative about how we got our owl and what we will need to take care of them. We were able to make 3D owls to put outside in our owlery to display our hard work. You should have heard our class begging to have more time, even though it was time to go home. We didn't even want to leave school because we were having so much fun researching and writing.
And then we have a few more pictures of just some more things that we've done, how we're doing stuff within the classroom. We even have a 1,000-piece puzzle in my room that's an early finisher project. And the last thing, this has been awesome because it's become a school-wide collaboration. PE is teaching them how to play Quidditch. In library, she did the Birdies Bees using the dichotomous key, which is a science standard. In music, they played Hedwig's theme using various percussion instruments, which is a science standard. And in art, she's been doing facial relief sculptures and weaving techniques. So they're making their house scarves and then going to be doing facial relief sculptures with them. So it's been it's kind of expanded much more than just to our classroom, 5th grade. It's been a whole school-wide thing. And it's just been a really amazing thing to see, not only 10 and 11-year-old girls carrying around wands, but we have 10, 11-year-old boys too on the playground playing with wands and just as excited. So it's been a really awesome thing, and they're very excited for their next novel study that we're keeping a secret currently. But thank you. Yes. So, but we just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to come and present to y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your teachers and your students for your dedication, and for Lily and Ella and Emery and Juliana for your presentations. You ladies did a fabulous job, and thank you so much for all that you have done. Moving on under item number 5 with recognitions, we have the teachers with National Board Certification, Miss Allison Anderson, for that presentation, please.
Good evening, Chairman. Congratulations, Ms. McBeath. I have to interject and say that this really is a who's who of awesome teachers here from Quinton today. I tell people I'm Gryffindor, but I really am Slytherin. So just so you know, we're good to go on that. But congratulations to them. I'm just here this evening just beaming because we also have 2 teachers with us this evening that deserve quite amount of praise. Ms. Keaton, it's lovely to see you here. And Ms. Stein, it's nice to see you as well. National Board Certification is the most respected professional certification available in education. And I cannot even dream of the amount of work that it takes place to get it. It provides numerous benefits to not only them as teachers, but to their peers and students and schools as a whole. National Board Certification was designed to develop, retain, and recognize most accomplished teachers and to generate ongoing improvement in schools nationwide. Tonight, we honor 2 of our spectacular teachers that have not only earned the certification, which blows my mind, but have earned the distinction of having it recertified, which is jumping into the pool again and doing a tremendous amount of work. So I want to introduce them to you this evening and just let you understand how significant this achievement is. So first we have Miss Keaton, if you could stand. And you can clap for her because they're really good. And we also have with us the librarian mentioned earlier from Quinton, Miss Stein. And they have their families here this evening. Who do you have with you tonight, Miss Keaton? Good job, Mom. You did good. And Miss Stein, who do you have with you this evening?
I have my number one cheerleader, my husband.
Awesome. Thank you for coming, and thank you all very much. It is a tremendous distinction. I'm also very proud. Both of these lovely ladies are new to our district this year, which just really makes me proud to see the accomplishments that are coming here in our division. I'm very happy and proud of you both. Congratulations.
Thank you. Hey, Dr. Nichols, can we take a picture with both of them, with you, so we can take a picture?
I was great with them.
Let's take
Mr.
Can
Chairman.
y'all take a picture, because we need to send this one to the Chronicle. They need to know about these wonderful ladies and their hard-earned, well-deserved recognition there.
What about with the thing in the background there?
Yeah, there you go.
Brian, you can't be in the middle.
Oh, Brian. Yeah. Thank you. And again, thank you, Ms. Keaton and Ms. Stein, and then your mom and then your husband for your big support piece there. Our next recognition goes to Virginia School Principal Appreciation Week. Dr. Nichols.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mead. And just to add on to the National Board Certification, just to put it in perspective for the audience, less than 3% of teachers across the nation have earned that distinction. And even fewer have earned the recertification of that distinction. So it's really an incredible feat to have these folks with us tonight. This month is Virginia School Principals Appreciation Week. I believe we have a little, there we go. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Terry. And we do want to thank our principals, and we'll be doing things for our principals this month. We have Ms. Pilger with us at Quinton Elementary, her and Ms. Lawler, who were here tonight, Dr. Stam and Dr. O'Day at New Kent Elementary, Ms. Krajeric and Ms. Sutton at George Watkins Elementary. So those 6 dynamic elementary leaders. New Kent Middle School, Mr. Wheeler, Ms. Faust, and Mr. Cooper, who are making big things happen at the middle school. And then New Kent High School with Mr. Valdrigi, Ms. James, and Ms. Strickland. So we do want to honor and recognize them, and we'll be doing things for them this month. There are a number of different principal recognition months and weeks. This is the Virginia one, so this is the one we honor and celebrate. So we do want to thank our principals for the work that they do, and I'm very fortunate to have them on board.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. Our next recognition is the National School Public Relations Association, and Ms. Anderson.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Nichols. It makes me very proud to be here to honor you, sir. You spend most of your career honoring others. Dr. Brian Nichols has been selected as the 2022 Superintendent to Watch by the National School Public Relations Association. Dr. Nichols joins just a few superintendents nationwide who were selected for this honor in recognition of his innovative and effective use of technology to engage and inform the school community and to expand two-way communications and outreach efforts. Dr. Nichols showcases the work of Team New Kent through various media forums and by being a constant advocate for our county and our kids and his team. NSPRA Executive Director stated that Dr. Nichols is an emerging leader. He has proven to be a dedicated champion of innovative communication efforts to advance this district's success. Honorees, by the way, must have fewer than 5 years of experience as a superintendent. This is my favorite part, and must demonstrate dynamic, fast-paced leadership with strong communication at his core. Sir, your work makes us better. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Nichols.
Very, very nice surprise. And Ms. Lovett, who attends our meetings quite often, one of the first things she said in our first conversation is, communication's terrible when I first got here. So she gives me feedback on a formative basis that we are improving in our communication. So this is really an award. It goes to the superintendent, but it's the whole team New Kent. It's Mr. Terry, it's Ms. Meredith, it's our principals have really stepped up, our teachers, and I'm very proud to be part of this team. So thank you, Ms. Mead.
Thank you. Under item number 6 is the superintendent's comments from our last meeting in December. So Dr. Nichols.
Yes, sir. We did have a couple citizen comments at our last meeting. We're actually going to tackle those under new business with the ESSER funding plan is really going to get to that piece. I do want to comment, and Ms. Morkheim will do it as well, is our ESSER funding plan is found on our website. Within 2 clicks of the homepage, you can see our spending plan, where we are, and what we're doing with those pieces. So it is publicly available, but we're doing a presentation with it tonight too. So I'll let that stand for the comment piece, sir.
Thank you. Next is our consent agenda, and the board has had an opportunity to read the minutes, read the bills and payroll, our monthly financials, and then the superintendent's recommendation regarding personnel. And so with our consent agenda, that we've had this opportunity to review this, and now I would like to make do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented that you have had time to read and observe?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, let's take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The consent agenda is approved as presented. Number 8 item under our agenda is new business, and that's under our ESSER 3 funding that will be presented by Ms. Morheim.
Mr. Chair, Dr. Nichols, board members, tonight we just bring you a quick update on ESSER 3 funding. This is something that we have discussed previously, but we just wanted to give a brief overview of kind of where we are. Bear with me 1 second, please. Our ESSER 3 plan, which is Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief, which is one of our many pandemic fund-related grants that we have received, was awarded in April of 2021. And just a couple quick points, something to point out, that it requires 20% of this award, $1.8 million, to be spent for learning loss. New Kent currently, our current plan, we're at about 31%. I think that's common. I think that some of the divisions that we've spoken with, I think sometimes one-time funding lends to different types of activities. So I think that you would see that in a lot of plans, but still trying to make sure that we're committed to the learning loss and how we're doing that creatively. So we're required to post the Safe Return to In-Person Instruction Plan on our website, which we did at the beginning of the plan award. And we are also required to post our plan to utilize the funds on the website as well. Expenses are required to be incurred between March 13th, 2020 and September 30, 2024. We have to have a public review of our return to in-person instruction plan every 6 months, which is what we did at our last board meeting. It's kind of strange because we have returned to in-person learning, and honestly, there's not much when you read in that plan. I don't think it will change very much between now and the end of the time frame for this requirement, but we will still bring it back to you. We will still have a public hearing just to be able to check that box that we have done that as required by the plan. As we've mentioned, please, we would always love any feedback that anyone had regarding either of these 2 plans, and the email address is provided there. Just so that you're aware, the projects that are currently in the plan: 2 full-time instructional coaches for FY 23 and 24, full-time school-based substitutes, 1 at each of our schools for the next 2 years. Our Summer of More program, that's for 2 more summers. Our teacher recruitment and retention incentives and career switcher programs that Ms. Anderson has been working wonderfully towards helping us recruit and retain staff. Also, prevention and mitigation strategies. Particularly, this was at the onset of the pandemic, and we worked with county resources to have a warehouse that Chief Opat was very helpful with having that so that we could supply our schools with those products. We have had minor changes since we presented this plan. I will point out just a couple things that were larger shifts in the plan. One is our HVAC funding. We did originally have a significant portion of this for HVAC renovation at the middle school, which was prior to when we received our larger HVAC grant. So we then shifted those funds out of this grant, funded the match with our CIP. Thank you for approving that, which freed up funds really to use for the Summer More program to extend that for then 3 more years. Another item that had been in there that is no longer in there was support for a grant-funded position that was really a part-time position to help administer the grant. We have had about 15 or so pandemic-related grants totaling probably about $4.8 million. So I want to thank Shannon Walton for all of her help and really all of the staff. It's been a tremendous effort from everybody. We've done a lot of really wonderful things, so I'd just like to thank them. And then really with our grants, we do receive, I think we will receive even more pandemic-related grants in the upcoming year or two. But we have always led with these guiding factors that we presented at the onset of our first grant that we received. And I think that you would agree that what we've presented and brought to you over the past few years have been in line with these guiding factors. And just so everyone has the link, as Dr. Nichols said, both of these plans are on our website. They have been there. And you can access both of them. And then also there's an email address if you would like to provide any input on either the Return to Learn plan or the funding plan. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Board members, I just want to thank Ms. Morgheim and Shannon Walton for their work on this. The 3 of us have been at a joint conference Monday and part of today. It's the Business Association, Superintendents Association, and there was a panel on life after ESSER, because this is a funding cliff and this money will go away. So we've been very smart in investing it into mostly one-time needs, learning loss, and those different pieces. We heard from a school division our size on the panel that they have 19 people in their grant. There is no way you can get those 19 people into an operating fund when the grant closes. So we heard from another school division, 2, that have balanced their budgets based on the grant funding. We are not only set up to make big things happen, which we are doing through Summer More, through the instructional coaching, which you heard about in the Quentin presentation, but we're also set up really well long-term with not facing that funding cliff. And it's a lot easier just to put a position into a grant than to do the hard work of figuring out the right way to do it. And Haney and her team always relentlessly go after what is the long-term best solution for New Kent. So just really proud of their work, and I know it's not easy. And other larger school divisions receive these grants too and have a large team to handle those grants and specific grant people. We have Haney and Shannon, and they're handling the same 15 grants that Henrico and Chesterfield and some of those larger ones are doing, and just doing a beautiful job with it. So I'm just very proud of them and wanted to take a minute to highlight that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Dr. Nichols. And I will say, we appreciate the support from BDOE. Sometimes what happens with especially some of these federal grants that come very quickly, there's a lot of guidelines and things that you have to do by a certain date. And there's often, throughout the pandemic, been times where we've received information and had to really turn it around very quickly to meet the requirements, either to be able to accept a grant or to be able to receive the funds and be able to say that we've checked those boxes. So that's definitely been a challenge. Shannon has been up for it. We've tackled it and been able to get through it, I think, and certainly we've gotten a lot of feedback, and we appreciate everyone that has had any type of input on how we're spending these funds.
Is there any questions from the board? Any comments? Again, I just want to thank Haney, and I know that most of that, I guess, goes to 2024. Is that correct? And we will, I guess, we'll be on track to start to evaluate those as we get closer. But I do appreciate Dr. Nichols' comment about our school division being fiscally responsible with the resources that we have. That has not created a burden on our school division nor on our employees because of thinking we just have short-term grant-funded positions that we may have to eliminate in the future just because of the pandemic. So that is an incredible job to manage that in a way that we come out on the other side much better than when we started. And so thank you, Shannon, and thank you, Haney, for all your hard work of making us fiscally responsible to our constituents and to the county and to the Board of Supervisors for the resources that we have. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. And as we transition into budget, that is one thing that we will say, and it is in the plan, it spells it out, so I'll speak to it. There are 7 FTEs that are included in the ESSER 3 plan. However, 5 of those are school-based substitutes, and right now we would be able to pick those up fairly easy in our general fund because of our actual shortage in substitutes, which we hope to correct that, obviously moving forward. So in the upcoming years, we will be looking at asking the board to then allocate some additional fundings for those positions, but we know that we have a few years to get to that point and really figure out what do we really need to keep or not. And the other 2 positions are the instructional coaches. I do think that that's something that we will prioritize to continue in the future, if not maybe adding additional coaches. So that would also be something that would come to you in future budget years. So with the budget update, if we're able to just roll into that.
Old business is the FY24 budget update. Ms. Moran?
So the governor did introduce his budget in December. And just a couple of items of interest to include tonight, just to give you a heads up of what's coming down the pike. A 5% pay increase, which we knew last year was something that was committed to. It's an additional 5% effective July 1 or in the new fiscal year, so most likely September for our 10-month employees. This is, again, funded for SOQ positions only, so that would be something that we would have to provide a match for, and then also look at other individuals and try to provide the funding for the difference of that increase for all staff. There's also a retention bonus. This is a one-time 1% September 1st, or it reads prior to September 1st payment for staff. And that's really, again, that is SOQ only that's funding. There is a match for that, which we're able to take the state funds and the local matching funds. And as long as we spend that same dollar amount, we're able to say then what that bonus payment would be. So we could look at something different than 1%. Some people have min and maximum rates. So stay tuned of what our recommendation for that may be. Teacher incentives. This one's a little vague still. We don't really have that much information on this. This is something that VDOE would have to come up with the criteria for, and they would have to notify all the divisions of what that criteria is. So I don't really have any information on how that would be allocated, who would be eligible to receive those funds, but that's something that we'll definitely watch closely. As Dr. Nichols said, Shannon and I and him attended the VASPO conference. We heard from Jim Regenball, Patricia Butler with VRS, and Kelly G., the executive director of the Virginia Lottery. Mr. Regenball, he predicted that the General Assembly would get out on time. That was one of the questions that people wanted to know. And his reasoning was that everyone needed to get back to work on their campaigns, which I thought was very interesting. So hopefully that's true. We'll see. But the state budget is very conservative. There are a lot of one-time funds. I think there is room for other things if items are discussed that aren't approved. I think we will see some conversations about how those funds are being used. There was a presentation on VRS with critical shortage, and I think Allison would agree. I think anything now is almost critical shortage. But they are looking at potential changes with the return to work guidelines about the timeline of when someone retires and leaves, how quickly they can return to work if they're able to. And then with the Virginia Lottery, just a prediction of additional construction dollars coming down the pike, which would be really nice for all the school divisions in the state of Virginia. So, just briefly, Dr. Nichols and I held budget forums in late November, early December in all of our schools. We sat in the school for a half a day and really just offered up for anybody in the building to come through and have a conversation with us. And I have to say, I was so pleasantly surprised and excited by not only the amount of people that we had come through, but the information that they came with. They came with excitement, they came with thanks, they came with solutions to problems that they were having. They came with things that they were dealing with now that we could fix now. They came with things that they wanted to see maybe in the budget next year, or things that actually were already in the budget and we maybe just weren't doing them yet. So I think we learned a lot sitting in those forums, and I think that's something that we'll continue to do. So I appreciate everybody that came out for that. Right now, just with where we are looking for position requests due this Friday from our schools and departments. So we're going to be consolidating those into one list and really prioritizing those for the budget for next year. And we'll meet with each principal and division leader in the upcoming weeks. And then on February 6th, we'll present to you kind of an overview of what we have, what our priorities are, what we're hoping to see in the budget for next year, and kind of between now and then, and carried on conversations with the county and their staff, really just to determine kind of what our revenue will look like from the county along with our state revenue. So that's kind of where we are right now, what we're seeing, what we're hoping for. I do think we'll follow suit with the state. I think we need to stay a little bit conservative. There's a lot of conversation about sales tax, and I think a lot of people were expecting a larger dip, and we're not seeing that quite yet. So I think we just need to be mindful of that as we move forward into next year and the year after.
One of the questions I have that's always been a little bit confusing when it comes to funding is for the lottery funds that come in to the state, how does VDOE then reallocate those by each school division based on need or based on a percentage? So how do we predict how much lottery money that we get on a regular basis?
So they had a really good slide today, Mr. Mead, and I actually took a picture of it with my phone. Obviously, I don't have that right in front of me right now, but I'll make sure that you guys get it because it was really neat. They talked about originally when the lottery started, and I want to say it was like 1989 or somewhere in the 80s, and then for the first 10 years, it wasn't until like 10 years after where they said it would go for school projects. But she specifically was talking about what percent goes to schools directly, and then what's able for the state to kind of utilize in their budget for different things and allocate it for programmatic type things. So I think there's some of that is driven by, ADM and kind of where you are in your division, and then I think there's some that's, able to be used programmatically for different things. I do think also sometimes the state shifts. If there's lottery funding, then there may be some shift in some other type of funding. But I think it's promising with the new betting and things that are going on in the different localities that we will see a lot more of that coming through maybe for school construction projects.
good.
But I'll make sure that you get a
Yeah, that's
copy of
good.
them.
Because I think every public community always questions that. As how is those hundreds of millions of dollars in lottery funds filtered down to the school divisions? And it's not like that somebody from the lottery is going to show up at New Kent with a check.
Correct.
Do you know what I'm saying? Is that,
Yeah.
oh, where is our money?
Right.
And so I think that it would be interesting to see that if legislators would do a better job of communicating with their constituents of how they're advocating for their districts for more lottery dollars, because you rarely hear those conversations in legislature, because we're due the money just like everyone else. And I think, like you said, it just depends on whose agenda is more important during legislation that they want to kind of allocate funds. But it is encouraging that we have the potential of gaining more resources or funding in the upcoming sessions.
It's interesting to follow, and I didn't realize this till today. So the opening of casinos. So the first casino opened in Danville,
right?
Land-based casino. I believe Portsmouth is opening Saturday. So it's like 6 to 8% of the proceeds there do funnel into the lottery funds, which may make their way our way as well. So it's kind of interesting to follow right now as far as the influx of.
Yeah, there were certain percentages. So they said, with the proceeds there, Shannon and I laughed because it was a very small amount that goes to like a recovery for, addicts.
Yeah, 95% of it goes here, and like 5%
Yeah.
goes for gambling recovery.
But there were different
interesting.
programs for
Yeah.
kids in need. They did have, very small percentage points, for different types off of the top. And then also the locality of which the casino is in gets additional funding that goes directly to your county, and then that could or could not be passed to schools. So there are those types of kind of loopholes that maybe it's not directly to education, but there are a significant amount of the funds that are and by law have to go into education. So I think that it's something to be excited about.
Yeah, what is it, $1 billion or something? I know. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, thank you, Ms. Moran.
That's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Our next item on the agenda is the policy 2A and 2AB, second read from with the help of Dr. Nichols and Ross Miller, we'll do this. Unless you want to go back to school, Ross.
Mr. Chair and members of the board and Dr. Nichols, a pleasure to come before you tonight regarding this policy IIA-IIB, and this is second reading. I'm happy to go through it again with you. I didn't receive any questions over the last month, but happy to entertain any of those tonight as this policy is up for your vote this evening. But happy to answer any questions that you may have about it.
Ross, just high level, we are doing this because.
So the General Assembly last year passed a bill that required a process to be put together in regards to the use of material that would be deemed sexually explicit in the classroom. And so we put together a policy and a process for how that works and how do we make sure parents are aware of any content there and how they can access lists of those materials that have been generated. And then how do they request for alternative materials in those cases? And so that's the policy outlines that process. And at this time, I will say, we have generated lists at our middle school and high school, and those are going up on the websites. The middle school basically consists of family life materials. And in the high school, I'll say there's some English novels, and because even if you look back at Shakespeare, Othello has to go on that list. The Odyssey goes on that list, and then everything up to more common modern books like The Glass Castle, which is a book that we utilize because it is recommended by the College Board to prepare you for the AP exam for English. So. There's a list of about 15 books that are used within the English department. Then we have a book that we use for our dual enrollment psychology class that is a college level class. And so there's some college level material in there that would fall under this definition. Beyond that, it is family life material, again, at the high school.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just asked Tidewater Review Daily Press had an article on the first read of this. So I got a call. It's like all 132 school divisions are doing this through the General Assembly. So just reminding the audience about the content.
They were just following the General Assembly's recommendation
Yes,
of
sir.
the
Yes.
definitions and of how we categorize this.
Yes, sir.
And this, if approved, when does it go into effect, Mr. Miller? Immediately?
Immediately. Yeah, this does come before us this evening as a action item to vote on. So.
Yep.
Board members, we've been working under this premise prior to policy this year with syllabus and communication to families and those pieces. So it formalizes it more for us. So it's a pretty easy move forward for us. Thanks to Mr. Miller and his team.
So my question was, what were we doing locally before this legislation?
Yeah, so very similar. The main things here is the publication of a list. We already had in place ways for parents to request alternatives. We've provided alternatives to parents when requested, and so that's not really anything new. It's mostly just putting together the list and formalizing it. Along with this, one of the things that it does get asked is where do library books fit in. Just a reminder, it is in the presentation. This policy does not address library books. The state legislation does not address it. If you do look at the legislation proposed this year, there is a bill to adjust that. But as it currently stands, that does not exist. But we do still have our practice, specifically at the middle school level, with parents can opt in to notification. Any questions?
The list will be posted on the website?
Each school's website, yes, will have their list posted.
Okay.
And then with the library books, back to your point, I think that's what we worked so diligently on last year, to have that committee and that to review those policies and procedures if there is a questionable book in the library or a parent questions that. We have a process to address that now.
Yes, we did.
Thank you. Is there any more questions?
Did we notify parents already for second semester for kids who are taking those classes?
So the psychology class, yes, because it's a 30-day piece, and so we want to make sure people know at least 30 days in advance. So any books that were going to be done within the first few days of school or the first few days of second semester would have been notified already, but we're not leading any class out with any of these books. So they will be notified through the syllabus as well as before that book is used.
And the parent has to sign the syllabus, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay. Got it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you.
Now we're on to citizens' comments. And just as a reminder, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight to speak. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. Once the timer sounds, please promptly finish your comments and return to your seat. As customary, the school board does not make comments during the citizen comment period. Please make sure that your contact information is provided on the sign-up sheet if you would like someone to follow up with you. Again, thank you. There's no citizen comments? JB.
That's what I came for.
Huh? You know, they appoint me a new chair and you ain't got nothing to say, man. Gosh. Cross that one off. Okay, board. Is that we have the action item is before us tonight to consider the approval of the policy for the 2A and the 2AB revisions as gone over this evening by Ross. So do I hear a motion, since this is the second read, do I hear a motion to approve the revisions for the policies that were presented this evening?
I move we approve policy IIA and IIAB as presented.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and so now those policies are adopted and will be put into motion. So now we are to the item 12 on our agenda, which is school board and superintendent comments. I'll start with Ms. Barber, if you would like to start, please.
All right, well, I'll be brief. Welcome back, everybody, from the holidays. It's nice to see a new semester starting, and in particular, I want to thank Haney and Shannon for being very deliberate and ethical in the way they manage the stewardship of our finances. That's quite a challenge and greatly appreciated.
Congratulations, Wayne. I'm sure you'll make this a colorful year for us. Congratulations, Molly. Appreciate your work and stepping up and taking that leadership role for us. Thank you, Haney, and Shannon for the work on our budget. I know it's a tremendous amount of work that goes into figuring out what you're going to move where and how you're going to manage those funds. So we appreciate that. And congratulations, Dr. Nichols, too, on your recognition. Very, very well deserved. So we're very thankful for your leadership here. And I just have to say something about the Rich Neck School because I feel like it hasn't been said. Feels like it's right in our backyard. And it's not something that can't happen anywhere. I mean, that particular school, I'm very familiar with where it's located. It's fine school, and administration I'm sure is good as well. So just everybody, parents, be diligent, pay attention to what your kids are doing. That's my plea.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Swinford?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Maiden. Congratulations, and Ms. McBeath, congratulations to you. I just want to echo that. I think it's important to recognize education. The education community is a small community, and with the events that happened last Friday, I know a lot of people here in this room have connections to that particular teacher or her family. She's an alum of JMU, so I was very much aware of it. I have a child at JMU, so I was very much aware of that. It's a tight-knit community, and we've talked about it a little bit as a board. Thoughts and prayers are with Newport News and Rich Neck Elementary School, and that teacher is definitely a hero. It could have been a lot worse. Definitely our thoughts and prayers are with Abby, and pray for her recovery and for that entire community. And so just want to say that. It was a pleasure to serve last year. It's an important role. I know we have good leadership in place. Certainly was proud of everything we accomplished last year, in particular with opening Quinton Elementary School. A lot of work went into that. And so again, I thank everybody, and we've certainly gotten off to a good start this school year. And I'm just so proud we have great leadership in place in our schools and in our central office. It's amazing how many new people we have that weren't here 2 or 3 years ago, and they work well as a unit and as a group, and they enjoy what they do. Obviously, that was important to see. We had the Teacher of the Year ceremonies, or we acknowledged those folks last week at each individual school. I wasn't able to make everyone, but I did make the announcement at Quinton Elementary School, and it was really a great opportunity to see that. Obviously, each teacher was surprised, but it was just evident how much they love their jobs and what they do. And I was excited because 2 of my children had 2 of the teachers that were awarded last year. And my in-laws actually were taught by one of our teachers. Now, there's a story there. No, she did not teach them when my in-laws were students. She taught, at William & Mary at the college in the classes that come out of the Christopher Wren building. So that was exciting to have that connection with those teachers. And I shared that with my father-in-law, and he tried to go after that teacher because he said she should teach at the graduate level. I said, don't steal any of our teachers. We don't need that. But anyways, just wanted to put that plug in there for all of the teachers that got that well-deserved recognition last week. So thank you.
Ms. McBeath?
Thank you, Mr. Mead, and I just would like to thank Ms. Swinford and Mr. Mead for their leadership last year. I greatly appreciated it, especially during my first year, and I realize you guys put a lot of hard work in, so thank you so much on that. As Ms. Barber said, welcome back. I'm glad we are on the second half of the year, and looking forward to all of the wonderful things that are going to be happening in New Kent County. One thing I do want to mention is in December, Dr. Nichols was able to host his first Community Advisory Committee meeting, and I had an opportunity to attend, and we had a very nice turnout of folks from a cross-section in the county. I think there was a great dialogue, very transparent. Mr. Miller did a wonderful presentation on the SEL curriculum, and I hope cleared up some questions that our community had about it, and I look forward to more presentations like that as well. So thank you for that and your hard work on that. And that's it.
Thank you, Ms. McBeath. Dr. Nichols?
Thank you, Mr. Mead. I also want to thank Ms. Swinford and Mr. Mead for last year and your leadership. Last year was a huge year for us. And Mr. Mead and Ms. McBeath, I look forward to working with you in 23 in the leadership capacity. I've been with my colleagues for the past 2 days, not 2 years. And I have to tell you that this is a very hardworking board, public-wise, and a board that really works well together in the best interest of our kids. We get a lot of things done, and I'm just very proud of the work we do. Happy New Year. Ms. Swinford did mention Teachers of the Year, so I'd like to say them publicly. The big announcement on the Division Teacher of the Year is tomorrow, so I can't tell you who it is as much as I'd like to. So we had Terry Nash at New Kent Elementary School, fantastic choice for Teacher of the Year. Carol Dickerson at George Watkins Elementary, Melissa George at Quinton Elementary, Erica St. Dennis at New Kent Middle School, and John Oggenbaugh at New Kent High School. All amazing teachers, but here's what is so amazing about New Kent. So our Teacher of the Year winners: pre-K winner, special education, music, foreign language, and career and technical education. It just embodies we take care of every kid, and you get great experiences in New Kent, and you get it through world-class teachers. So it's going to be a tough choice, although I know who it is, for tomorrow's Division-wide Teacher of the Year, because any of these could be the Division-wide Teacher of the Year. I also want to say, so I spent more than 2 decades in Newport News. I lived in the Rich Neck zone for over a decade. Heavy on my heart. I know a lot of the people involved. I consider some of them family. So we are Team New Kent, but we rally around anybody who needs support, and we're doing that with Rich Neck now. I will tell you that the first person I talked to was Sheriff McLaughlin within minutes, because even though it wasn't our school division, we wanted to make sure we were safe and secure. Monday was Law Enforcement Appreciation Days. I'm very appreciative we have a full-time SRO at each one of our schools. It's that partnership and the partnership with Chief Opet that make us strong and make us safe. And we have more work to do, and we'll continue to do that work. But we definitely lift that community up, lift Abby up. And so look for an announcement from us in the next couple of days about how you can help us support that school and the students there. So I just want to thank this awesome community and our awesome staff, because we've made big things happen in 2022, but wait for 2023. I mean, what we have on tap is going to be pretty special, to say the least. So thank you, Mr. Mead.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. And I'll just end up saying thank the board for the opportunity to serve as the chair this year. Again, it's just a pleasure and an honor to be able to do that. And I do want to say something kind of on a side note that I thought was just hilarious is to watch Dr. Nichols and Haney and all their staff run in front of a school bus during the Providence Forge parade. It was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my life. I have never seen Haney run so fast in my life. Yeah, and I don't even get it. We have got to find that tape, and we need to post that. It's going to go viral in the States because it was just. But you know what? This is why I tell you that story, because that's what Dr. Nichols and his team does, is that they're a part of the community in more than just words. They're part of the community in action. And that was part of the action that they put their words to. And I thought that was just incredible as I sat there and I watched them, and it just embodies the camaraderie that this staff has. And I know as a board, we appreciate that more than we could ever express in words. And so I am grateful that when they get together and they do these things, they do it 100%. And it was fabulous to see them out there, but I just knew I was not going to run with them. It was a great thing to see them do that. So I am so proud of our Dr. Nichols and the team that he has been able to develop over the last few years. And it really shows in so many other ways, even through the presentations that we've had through Haney and Ross and the principals and the support staff and as well. So I do look forward to an exciting 2023, and I know we have just some incredible things for capital improvements that are coming this year, and challenges with budgets and a new General Assembly and a new in the governor, and seeing how that's going to unfold. So that's going to provide some exciting opportunities for us to see how we can pivot in different areas that we need to pivot. But again, I am grateful for all that we do at New Ken and for the support that we get, as Dr. Nichols said, from our sheriff's departments, from our fire and EMS. And again, our prayers go out to Abby. My youngest daughter was involved with her. She's 25 years old, the same age as my daughter, and they attended a YADAP conference at JMU, actually, when they were seniors in high school. And so our heart goes out to her family, especially as she recovers in the hospital. And again, our prayer is for full and total healing for her, so that she can get back on her journey to wherever that leads her from her hospital bed back, hopefully, to the classroom. So again, thank you for you folks that come on a regular basis. Your attendance is greatly appreciated. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And so I look forward to hearing from you in the near future. So with those, no other further comments, our next regular meeting will be on Monday, February the 6th, 5:30 p.m. here in the New Kent County Administration Board. With that, our meeting is adjourned at 6:43 p.m.